What's up, everyone? Grizzly here, and welcome to something that I've never done before, and so I'll give it the best effort that I can. Welcome to my game review of Vane so far, and what I think of the game as a whole. So sit back and relax as I try to give you a good look at what the game has to offer, and if you think this is something you would enjoy. As a player that has mainly enjoyed survival games such as 7 Days to Die, and this game being more like Project Zomboid, a game I've never played by the way, I can say that this one has a very different feel and atmosphere. Now, I've been playing 7 Days to Die since Alpha 16 and have been immersed in the survival genre ever since. Playing games where survival aspects are key make the gameplay more interesting and provide better challenges that make a game rewarding to play, at least in my opinion. As 7 Days to Die has strayed from that aspect in previous alphas and in their release versions, I decided to give Vane a good try, as this game is only in the beginning stages of early access and only has two developers, Kyle and Azzy. My expectations weren't really great, but I was decently surprised with what I found and continually find in the game to make it enjoyable. So let's discuss some of these aspects. For game design, only having two developers, this game looks amazing. Sure, the zombie models could use some work, but remember that this game is a work in progress, and I feel the developers have done amazing work. The scenery is stunning. Models such as vending machines, tables, stations, cars, everything is well done. I love the way the zombies shamble, crawl, move around. It's great. Everything seems appropriate to what you would expect in an actual zombie apocalypse. The world you are planted in is just breathtaking. Building designs are very well structured and thoroughly searchable. Lockpicking is a great performance gate as it keeps you coming back to certain POIs for higher end loot. I'm also very impressed as to how much thought went into aspects of the game, such as where you would find particular things. Do you need tools? Search a shed or a garage. Do you need food? Break into a house and raid the fridge. If you need gas, go down to the local gas station. Things are appropriately put in places where you would think to go, where you would expect to find them, and that's fantastic. I also enjoy the dismantling portion for raw materials, although I'll talk about this a little bit later in the video. Workstations and fortifications are easy to understand, and game menus are good at explaining what materials you need to build certain things. I'm definitely not a game developer, a coder, a tester, or anything of the sort. I just play the games for enjoyment and attempt to bring something to my audience that I think that they can enjoy and watch. For a game in early access with two developers, I feel that they've checked all the boxes for me on this front. For games mechanics, let me start with the positives of what I feel makes this game playable and enjoyable. From the start, you're given a choice as to what you want to be and how you're going to make this journey your own. You can pick your own stats and profession. While you can do this in other games, this one lets you pick at the start to try to give you the best foot forward in how you want to survive. Maybe you think strength is the way to go, or maybe you want to be more agile. There's no wrong choice. You are in control of how you play your game. You are basically in your own sandbox. The survival aspect of this game is top notch. You are consistently battling hunger, thirst, temperature, weather, sickness, zombie infections, and a whole host of other status effects that divert you from what you thought you were going to be dealing with. Instead of having item slots, you have a carrying capacity and weight, which I rather prefer. I feel that carrying more items with a weight versus a certain number of item slots is more realistic and worthwhile. I will often start an episode with a plan, such as I'm going to build up walls for defense or go out and find something specific, and then I'll be hit with a status effect that completely diverts me from that task. To stay healthy and survive in this world, you have to deal with the problems as they come, and in this world, They come fast and they come often. I love that because I think it reflects real life and how that happens to us all. It makes you think, and that's an aspect I believe we miss in other games. They have added other things in the game, such as item decay and cleanliness, which I think is a fantastic idea. Make sure to keep up with your hygiene so you don't attract zombies. At the start of an apocalypse, the items you find are going to be fresh. The power will still be working, or at least you hope it would, and the water may still be pumping. But after a while, it's all going to go to shit. You just expect it to, and I love that they have implemented a system like that in the game. It gives the world a good sense of immersion. It also helps you get a head start on your journey and not just waking up, starting naked with a jar of water, a can of chili, a torch, and a note telling you that you were dumped in the middle of the nowhere. Sorry, fun pimps, it's a little jab at you, my bad. Vehicles, while plentiful, have decay to all sorts of parts that have to be replaced and maintained. You might be mobile, but depending on the quality, it might not be for long, making the difficulty greater and the survival aspect stronger. You find everything from electrical appliances that you can interact with to farming plots to keep yourself fed. This is truly how you would start if the world went to hell. Moving on to what I feel are negatives about the game, there aren't really that many. Obviously, this game is still in early access with the two developers, as I mentioned before, and things are much in flux. I expect that they will listen to community feedback and do what they can to improve their game. Looking on Steam, they are releasing weekly updates and changes on everything they do. Transparency at its finest, in my opinion. With that being said, here's what I would say. Speaking on the number of items in the game, I feel like it's too much. Without a doubt, everything I've seen in the game in regards to items are things that you would find in the real world. I feel these could be consolidated down a bit for better inventory management. There are a plethora of items like food or cosmetic items in the game that I believe could be cut out but still reach the desired effect that the developers intended. For example, let's talk about food items. If you want the player to eat healthier and avoid a status effect such as diabetes, you could eliminate some of these items. For example, things like peanuts and pistachios. These are a couple of things that I've found in the game. You could just consolidate that down to one item and call it nuts. I've found ice cream and dairy bars and candy bars. You could reduce all of this down and just call it ice cream or candy bars. You don't need multiple variations of exact items. When editing, I feel like I cut out entire sections of clips because it's just me scrolling through a vast inventory of items. I also find numerous exact items, such as tools or batteries. While finding these items are good, I'm sure I've collected so many batteries, I never really need to worry about going without one for my flashlight or cell phone. I do understand that this is where the dismantling mechanic comes into play, and this is where I'm going to praise it, but at the same time, I'm going to downplay it too. The abundance of material, such as scrap, does pile up a bit in the early game. Granted, I haven't made it to anything advanced, but wonder if this is also something that needs just a little bit of tweaking. But time will tell. As I progress to higher stations, I may find that my fears are unwarranted. It might actually need all this scrap for something. Obviously, zombie combat is something that needs to be improved, but I feel that that will come in time when Kyle and Azzy get the funding that they need to hire more developers and progress their game further than it currently is. I have no worries where zombie combat is concerned. I do like that I am overwhelmed with zombies as I gain more status effects, but at the current time, they aren't much of a challenge, and I dispatch them quite easily. I fear the wolves spawning around the farm that I've taken over are a little bit more dangerous than the actual zombie threat. Other things such as ladder climbing mechanics, toolbar equipping options, and other little things could be improved as well. But again, that's something I feel that can be improved in time with more developers, and it doesn't really need that much comment from me. Overall, I've enjoyed playing this. For its beauty, gameplay, this game has some serious potential to be one of the great ones, and give us an alternative to other survival games that we have love for. It truly reminds me of how I felt when I played 7 Days to Die for the first time and how quickly I grew to love the challenge of it. If I had to give this one a rating, it would be very positive. I'm thoroughly impressed that this game exists with just 2 developers pouring their all into it. I would encourage everyone that made it this far in the video to give Kyle and Azzy support and give their game some love. Without us, they can't make Vane into what it can be, and without them, we wouldn't have something like this to enjoy. I want to thank everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the content and liked what you saw and heard, consider giving the game a try. Also, show some love by liking, commenting, or sharing the video. I'll always thank you guys for subscribing and sticking with me. And with that, this is Grizz, and I'll see you in the next episode of Vane.